Alright, welcome to Just Morpheus Gaming. I was going to pick up with my game of node math, and yeah, at this point I really don't have much planned. I did, when I uploaded the last video, notice that there wasn't a lot of other people doing node math, but their episodes were about an hour each, and it takes some time to get some progress. I need 500,000 in order to get my 4 unlocked. It's only 20,000 to get. So if I hover over this, it shows me what my potential blocks are going to be. So I can get like a ×4, +1, +2, ×3 for free. I don't actually know what the holes are about. One thing I'm a little abashed to admit, or I don't really like spoilers, so I haven't looked into anybody else's videos and like how to do things efficiently or yada yada. So it is a learning process for me, and yeah, I'm just gonna try unlocking one of these new sections. I was wondering if I should unlock one of the ones in the back as opposed to up front. I think I will. Alright, what? Give me a tutorial. Drop all the 2s into... I can double times it? That's interesting. And then ×4 again? That's interesting. So there's like a multi-joint network. I'm assuming this isn't actually going to affect the 4. $21 to make 22. That is interesting, because he did that basically with an entire field of 2s and 3s. So they can all bank into a single one. Okay. What did I actually get out of it? I think it actually popped a different tutorial. And that might have been my bad for skipping. So a 1 comes in. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure that's just pre-built for me. So I have a free +1, +1, ×3, ×4. The one thing that I can do is almost just like an entire field of 2s. It can be like a 2 ×4 to get my 8, and then just pipe it straight out. Let's see how something like that might actually look, because at this point I'm just dead in the water. I don't need any of these 8s, but I need all of these 16s, if you will. Can I just Control X, V, slap you over there? This is pretty janky, but what I was looking for was actually just the space. So there's a way to do the move. I think it said it was middle mouse button. WSAD. Should have been a way to move that node. But now that it's not overlapping, it'll connect out. What was very much entertaining was just doing a bunch of like 2s. And if I wire them down into each other, I didn't realize it worked that way. So at this point I can just do a connection from just trying to get down to the ×4. And it doesn't... I can't connect over the blocks. So the blocks are a wall. I mean, this is super janky, but I can just do something like this. And now I have all my 8s coming out. Can I... If I put it in here, can it go 2 different ways? So it is in fact splitting them, but if I do something like, because this should give me 24s now, and I can just do, I don't have subtraction. Oh. I wonder if you can actually connect kitty corner. You can. So that's getting me 11 out. So I can pull this down, come over, and it's going to be pretty simple just to do like 2 times. Because this will be coming out as 16s now. And if I just basically do the exact same thing here, it'll do it. Boom. Because now I have my 21s and 16s. And I just have to delete this whole chunk and turn this into mass. I'll just grab the back 2. I want to grab... I'm a little too wide, but I think I can just grab the front chunk. And do something like that. So I need 3 more. It does not seem to be feeding it very fast at all. The 2 times, the times 2 is actually taking too long to bank out. So, at a certain point I didn't realize they have to be equally timed. Because if I have 50 coming in here, I need 50 feeding it. But I can just do something like... Okay, they showed it clicking and dragging. I'm not sure how to do part of this. If I do that, can I drag you? Yes. And then I should just be able to do the connection to be like boom, 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 boom. That was a little slower than I would have liked. But now, just go back to my pointer. This is still going to be incredibly slow, but I need like a quadruple bank or something. Because the main limiting factor is going to be here. Oh, no, and I didn't want that going in there. Because I needed it times. I should be able to do something just like this. If I do it just right, be something like that. So I still don't have nearly enough feeding in to support it. It's not too terribly far off. But the real waste came from I have more coming in here than can actually get processed here. It's going to be enough to push my level. And I'm still only like a quarter of the way to my next chunk. I was almost wondering about trying to do... What is this? So, ALS dollar. It's only 700 to try it, so... Alright. Your earnings per delivery resource comes from the formula shown on the island. It can include coefficients ABC and can be upgraded with money and level the target island. Excuse me. More ways to increase income will appear later. So this is the formula used to drive my money, so I can upgrade the ability to get money. If I want to improve L and I can't improve L, the coefficient would be the most efficient, but at 100 million, I'm nowhere near it. 2,000, 4,000, 8,000. I was trying to figure out, there's going to be a mathematical equivalent for when... Okay, yeah, this one upgrade's going to take me to 108, where this one upgrade's only going to take me to 45. So I should have basically saved for this one. This will double my amount of income, basically. Alright. So, 30 and 25. Remember to use special islands. At first you might keep it up only using empty islands, but that's not very efficient, especially later on. So I was wondering how to, at 30 and 25, because if I changed what's coming in to be like 3, this is going to take me just a minute to figure out. So the 30 would work out for the main chunk. 25. What would I end up with here? One thing in a way I was actually, can my beams cross? No. So I couldn't, if I unlocked a block here, I can't actually, unless I'm really tricky about making my paths parallel through something like that. What's the easiest way I can get to 25? Because if I feed these all into 3s, 3 times 4 is going to be 12, 13, 14, 15. So if I did 12... I mean, 12s don't really get me to 25s easily. If I split it and said 12 and then 13, and then just added them together, I think that would work. Is there an easy way I can just replace these? Auto. I think it was paint these things. And you can do, I thought you could actually do an area. Well, that's kind of interesting. Oh, it went through, interesting. So it'll automatically even paint the directionality. So if I do something like this, it'll automatically drop them all down and over. And then I just want to paint the connections over like that. And here, this actually needed to come out and down. Need to basically just delete all of these. I'm splitting it a third way, which I don't really care for. If I just do something like this, and then... So it has a snap grid that makes that half easy. But that should give me my 25s, and that's gonna be my 30s. So if I add those two together, and then out. Since I'm splitting it 3 ways, that actually doesn't look like it's too far away. I'm still not getting enough 30s out. I could, in a way, this is where I can say something like Control-C, and it was B, and horizontal. You can't see the sub-blocks, but that should have flipped them the other way. No. Control-Z. And it looked like, ow. Control-Z. It looked like it allowed me to do that, even though I probably need to just wire it up like that. So Control-V, F is for my other flip. And then pop that in there. Oh, no, no, no. It started feeding in 60s. Because I don't want the second times 2, I want to just keep building on my other times 2. So... a little janky. If I delete this line and basically move this whole thing over, that was a little weird. How did I lose the one in the middle? 2's go into times, you go over here in times, and now up. So that should be feeding en masse. And I'm almost up to my next number of 500,000. Doubling my income might actually be worth it waiting over unlocking the 4. The one thing that I'm not actually sure about is if I do my upgrade now, since it's going to change my numbers, do I quit getting income for what I'm feeding in now? I'm assuming I do because my requirement for revenue changes. I'm going to go for the income double, and then I'll test it out. I was actually wondering if I should go for the income double and then the 4. I don't want to waste too much time, but I can also do the magic of video editing, fast forward slow chunks. Because at this point it's just a waiting game, but I don't want to wait like 10 minutes either. So that should significantly help my income. And at this point, I am going to wait for the magic 4. It's questioning for 180,000 I can get a new block, or I can get an island. That's odd. Am I somehow misusing my existing island? Can I put like a 3 in there? I can't. So if I unlock this island, there's just a chunk in the center I can't use, or I was trying to figure out what that even implies. I'm almost wondering if it's just not showing me the correct preview. Or I'm not quite sure what I managed, because I need 1 million to unlock the next chunk, and 2 million to do the next island. So boy, I was wondering how to get rid of the extra blocks around. That happened when I clicked on this, but I can't actually afford. It's kind of question maybe trying to save and reload. The one thing that about the upgrading though, so as soon as I did upgrade, my income did stop because I'm no longer meeting my requirements. So that leaves me dead in the water until I can sort a 35 and a 44. Because if I do, I was just trying to figure out what's the easiest way I can get basically halfway there, because if I can get a 22 out of it, which is what I had here. No, I had a 30. I had a 22 last round. Is the 13... yeah. Part of it's math. Come on. 44 and 35. At a certain point, I was just trying to figure out how to get rid of those things again. Don't quite know what's going on there. Alright. 44 and 35. This is where I feel silly in even doing something like this live. Things I can have 12 here. I was trying to figure out actually what all I could have here, because if I feed in 2s, it's going to be an 8, a 12, or if I feed in a 4, it's going to be a 16. So those are the main chunks that I can work with for divisors. And without the minus, like the times 3 here is basically going to give me too big. If I came in with 8, I could get 24s coming out of there. I mean, if I fed in 2s, there's a couple options I have here. I was actually just wondering about trying to brute force it. The main thing is that, like, the 9.8 second loss is going to be pretty huge. I'm feeding the 3s in. Alright, this is going to take me a minute to figure out. Why am I being slow? I keep coming up like over 36, or there has to be a way to split it that I'm missing that's a little obvious. I mean, 22... If I push it higher, if I run a 4 in, come out at 16... I mean, be 48, right? Alright, now I'm actually a little concerned on wasting people's times. Come on, brain, flex. What is the Z solution? Because I'm not even seeing a solution through this. Doesn't have to be easy. What am I missing? Just see about cleaning it up. See, there is something weird there with the other chunk. Because the one thing, all I need to do is feed in 1 and get it working. If I fed in a 4, 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 3 is going to be 48. And I have no minus. But I could do like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. But once again, 20, I can't even do like a times 2 because I'm still quite a ways under where I need to be. If I wanted to look at the half of 35, 15, it would be a 17 and an 18. If I dumped a 4 in and got my 16... And then, I didn't want to actually, because if I want to split it, at this point I have my 2 chunks, right? And that solves half of it, if I did the math correct. I have a 17 coming out there, and a 16 coming out there. Didn't I say 17 and 18? What was my magic number? 35. Yeah, 17 and 18. So, that's a bit of a jank. Okay. Because I almost need just the additional +3 there. Oh. Because that would be actually 17, 18, 19. But I can do that, because I can, as opposed to the +1... Here we go. So now I should have a 19 and a 16, which should be 35. So the main chunk is quote-unquote solved. Let's just see if I can do something like an addition block. And then pump you back up there. So, yep, 35. The one I was really struggling with was the initial one, the 22. Because I don't... 22 isn't divisible by 4 or by 3. I guess that's where my main struggle is. If I did... I can, I think, do some basic upfront math, where I do... I was trying to figure out, if I pumped a 5 in, 5 times 4 would give me 20, and then plus 1. So all I'd have to do is the times 2 on the way out. There has to be a way to move the blocks. Delete blocks. Paint blocks. Just do mass delete. Because what I'd like to do is just shift these over like that. I broke the connection for this one. I was trying to figure out, because if I'm trying to pump a... Because what did I say? I need a 5 coming down here as well. So... if I do field of 4s... and that somehow went the wrong way. Paint. 4. And then line down. Because I also need like a subfield of 1s. Wrong way. Did I somehow buy that chunk? I'm pretty sure I somehow bought that chunk. And I have no idea, because that's not what I wanted. And I have no idea how I'd have done it, or I'm assuming that's why those went up so much. Either way, moving on. What I was initially trying to do was the connections. All my 1s come down. And I just do like a plus. And can I split it? So if I do something like that, I now have my 5s. And I just have to wire both these in around the corner nicely. Thought I did that before. Did I just pull them in closer? No, it's not going to let me do that. I can do one or the other. Womp womp. Which means I have to key off from like the times 3. Oh. Alright. What did my brain just try to reorganize? I was trying to get 44. And I figured I could come in 5 times 4 for the 20. And then 21 times 2, which is where I was thinking. So... if I could pull in 7 to get to 21 and then add 1. Not quite sure how, because I can't key out from this plus 1. I think that's really the only option I'm seeing to get through here. And that makes it a lot harder. Because if I split the 4s twice, I'm already splitting them twice. And if I'm split the 4s 3 times. No. Oh. Okay, so it auto-buys somehow if I drag into that block, which I don't even know how it does because I think have the money to do it? I'm wondering if I somehow have it in a weird glitch because I can just like infinitely buy land without having to spend the money for it. Because it should be 1.8 million to get my next chunk of space. Yet I can just do something like that. I have no idea. Something's funky. What I was wondering is doing something like this. I need to continue to pump my 4s down. But now my 4s get like really split. Because I want my 4s to go into the adding block twice. And there's my 9s. I failed something there. I wanted 7s. 21. I'm trying to go for the 44s. Which just means this whole thing has to be 3s. And then can I just... select all. Delete. 3s. Paint as a field. And then just wire, wire, wire. Alright, my 7s should now be giving me 21s. At which point I just wanted my field of 1s and an addition. Okay. No. Yeah, 22s. I needed 44s. That'll get me... I just now need to do the times 2s. Oh. +1. So if I do a times, and then a wave of 2s, the way I need these to be basically the same size. No, Control Z. I have to be careful not to be clobbery. But yeah, I'm 1 off. If I do something like this... No! If I wire you up 2 times... And that should get me it. Oh, well, need to wire that together. And need to wire this together. There we go, 44s. So the main limitation I'm fighting is the 3s, the bank of 3s I need to basically clear or increase some. So I'm just gonna clobber those, shift that up, and then do something like Control CV, and wire that down. Is that going to be enough to... There's a fairly decent pause there between it dropping the chunks. Yeah, it's still not enough. So, that in some ways is a little embarrassing, or I think I finally got ahead of it. Or not. I'm still not creating enough 7s? In a way, it's hard to see where the bottleneck is. Because it doesn't tell me, like, I have 35 22s piled here and it's waiting on my times. Because all my 7s coming in. Finding bottlenecks in factories is challenging sometimes. But yeah, as far as these should be mirrored, and I only had 3 and 4. So I think I was actually waiting on my additions. And I'm still not quite producing enough. And I'm not producing enough 35s? Because why am I dropping out of 35s? At one point that was full. And it was because I cut down my field of 4s. Ouch. Trying to, Yeah, and at a certain point, this episode is already quite long. So I can upgrade my points at like 4 million. I can't upgrade yet, but I'm actually starting to make some decent money. I could buy another block. I, in a way, wish I didn't have this because I don't know. I mean, there's nothing I can do to get out of there. That's just like a wasted square. And for 1 million, I can buy a block. If I bought this block... I was just trying to figure out, because I could almost swap the 3s and 2s. So if I did something like... No. Control Z. Just wanted selection. Control X, Control V, Control R. Should just be able to do something kind of janky like this. Because I was wondering about moving my 3s over. If I move my 3s into the inside lane, that would be problematic. But I can easily just dump some more 4s in the center lane. And then, yeah, once I get this next level, I'm going to call it good for... Oh, I can't dump them because I can't jump paths. I can't cross the beams. Oh, come on. I can, actually, at a certain point, do something like this. Now I can dump my 4s in there. And hopefully that'll be enough to turn the tides on. My 44's dropped to 0? And I can actually do something like shift this up. So if I wanted to grab another, at least like row, I should be able to do that. And is that going to be enough to do it? And it looks like it is going to be enough to do it. Although with that being said, I am going to let my money bank a little bit. I was wondering the legitimacy of trying to just push to the next level or bank. Either way, I'm going to call it good for this episode. That was a little brain-busting, perplexing. At least there at the end. But yeah, with that, I guess I look forward to doing some more node optimizations. If you're still watching, I want to thank you for your time and hope you enjoyed it.